But to this woman, Jesus said right out, I am the Messiah. He revealed himself to her in a way they didn't to anybody else. Would you like to get to know Jesus? Would you like him to reveal himself to you? This woman gives us the plan. You come to him as a sinner. Like I said, most of us can do that. Well, not all of you, but most of us can do that. Most of us can say to Jesus, you know, I've made mistakes. I've messed up. Some will have to say, I messed up terrible. Some might even, like me, say, I was a good boy. But I am so screwed up inside that I need your help. And the beauty of this passage is that it tells us once and for all that Jesus does not worry about sin as far as being a requisite to get to know him. In fact, it's the direct opposite. You have to say, I'm a sinner for you to get to know Jesus. The verse we talked about, what he said, I'm come to seek and to save that which was lost. If you're not lost, if you're not a sinner, guess what? You miss out. When this woman came face to face with her sinfulness, and Jesus was honest with her, she ran away. But she didn't run away to get away from Jesus. She went away to tell everybody else, the Messiah is here. You want to get to know Jesus? That's where you have to start. You have to acknowledge that you're a sinner. Then the second step is be interested in what he has to say. One of the things that I hear as a pastor, and with several years' experience, getting to be as old as I am, is a lot of good excuses. Excuses. There are no good excuses. Everything from, well, I don't have the time, to which I say, well, yeah, you do. You just use it for something else. To it's boring. Well, find somebody who's not boring. I grew up with a boring minister. So I know what that's like. Which is why I do my level best to not be boring. And most of the time, I succeed. And it's interesting. You want to know what my indicator is? My indicator is when heads start dropping like this. And I have two ways to deal with that. One is to get louder, and one is to get quieter. It's interesting, and you have seen this with little kids that are sleeping, especially. If you start whispering around them, they wake right up. So I don't have the time, or it's too boring, or I can't understand. Or the one I often hear when inviting somebody to church, if I come to church, the roof will fall down. Which is why I'm glad we have put a new roof on this church a few years ago, so I can take care of that excuse completely. I'm sorry, that's not going to be a good excuse, because if we got a new roof, it's going to stay up there. But all of these excuses simply say to Jesus, I'm not really interested. Jesus said, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled." If you're interested, you'll get to know Jesus. And then the third step is to be honest. This woman was honest. This woman was willing to hear whatever Jesus had to say and was willing to honestly respond. And he revealed himself to her as he was. If you are willing to come to Jesus honestly, you'll get to know him. Because that's where he lives. He says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." If you want to get to know him, you have to come into the truth. You have to get to know him honestly. Because that's where he lives. So this story is wonderful because it tells us that Jesus is available. And it tells us how to find him. It tells us how to get to know him. It tells us how to have him be a part of your life. This story says, I could get to know Jesus. This story says, you can get to know Jesus. And the rest of the Gospels say, you ought to get to know Jesus because he is awesome. He is amazing. He is willing to introduce himself to you. I have a long list of stories of how he did that for different people. And I'm not going to tell you all of them this morning. And I may not even tell you any of them, but I'll tell you what. If you're interested, Jesus will introduce himself to you. He doesn't just say from a distance, "Trust me!" He doesn't just say from a distance, "Take the leap of faith." He says, "Let me introduce myself." Now, he doesn't beat down the door. He doesn't barge into your life. Well, sometimes he does, for which I am thankful, because there are some of us who need to get hit over the head with a 2x4 to wake up. And for those ones, I am thankful that there are times that Jesus barges into our lives. But most of the time, he introduces himself to anyone who is a sinner, who is interested, and is willing to be honest with him. Let's pray. Father, I thank you for sharing this wonderful story with us. So that we could understand in a new and different way that you sent Jesus to seek and to save that which is lost. That you sent Jesus to save sinners. That you sent Jesus to save me. Help us to see and understand in a new way this morning the opportunity we have to get to know Him. And learn from this story to take these steps to do that. That we might truly get to know Jesus, the most wonderful person in the whole universe. We ask in His name. Amen.